Welcome to Idaho Fish and Game's Hook and Bulletin podcast, your weekly news roundup of hunting, fishing, trapping, and conservation stories from around the Gem State. Hosted by Fish and Game's Public Information Specialist, Connor J. Lease.
And welcome back to Idaho Fish and Game's Hook and Bulletin podcast. Not much to go over this week, so this should be a pretty quick episode. But first things first, next week we'll be traveling to steamy, pulpy Lewiston, Idaho for the November commission meeting taking place on the 19th and 20th, which you can watch on Zoom. Because of the busy schedule, there will be no Hook and Bulletin next week, but if you're itching for something to listen to, our latest Shooting the Bull podcast just dropped. Beery and I sat down with Conservation Officer Colby White and his right-hand man, Bear, an energetic black lab and certified canine officer with Idaho Fish and Game. Bear and Colby have been working together wearing the Fish and Game badge for just over a year. So go check it out if you're into dogs or want to learn more about our canine officer program. Now, this week we're talking about another kind of bear, the food conditioned variety, 3 separate wildlife crimes in Unit 33, and next week's commission meeting. But first, here's an update on that incident from back in early October. On October 14th, Idaho Fish and Game requested the public's help in identifying individuals captured on a motion-activated camera who were suspected of involvement in wildlife crimes in the Coeur d'Alene area. Thanks to numerous tips from you, the public, Fish and Game conservation officers conducted an investigation that resulted in 4 individuals, 2 Idaho residents and 2 non-residents, being charged with multiple alleged wildlife violations. The individuals face charges that include taking big game, in this case a black bear, during unlawful hours, possession of unlawfully taken big game, again black bear, maintaining and hunting over an unlawful bear bait, hunting big game, deer and elk with bait, hunting deer and elk without licenses or tags, hunting deer and elk with an unlawful weapon, hunting wild turkey with bait, and possession of unlawfully taken wild turkeys. Because the case remains open with charges only recently filed against the defendants, more information is not available at this time. Additional details will be released upon conclusion of the case. Fish and Game wants to thank you, though, for being diligent in reporting potential wildlife crimes and helping to preserve, protect, and perpetuate and manage the incredible fish and wildlife to which Idaho is home. Anyone with information about a potential wildlife crime is encouraged to call the Citizens Against Poaching hotline at 1-800-632-5999. Remember, calls may remain anonymous and confidential, and reports can also be submitted online. This is not going to be the last time, by the way, that we talk about the CAP hotline. For more news and updates, visit the Panhandle Region Facebook page or contact the Panhandle Regional Office at 208-769-1414. Next, if you're an angler that likes to frequent southeast Idaho, here are a few changes you can expect to see at a few of its top fisheries. Persistent drought has stressed popular fisheries in southeastern and eastern Idaho, setting up tougher trout fishing in 2026. Despite adequate high-elevation snowpack last winter, warm valley temperatures limited lower elevation accumulation. Spring and summer brought little additional moisture, and prolonged heat deepened drought conditions. Reservoir levels across the southeast region dropped sharply, prompting our staff to order fish salvages at Glendale, Foster, and Johnson reservoirs. And American Falls Reservoir was drawn down to just 3% of capacity. With water levels low and water quality degraded, anglers should anticipate fewer and smaller trout at American Falls Reservoir in 2026 until conditions improve. Under normal water levels, hatchery rainbow trout grow quickly in American Falls and have produced trophy-class fish, including a 34.75-inch rainbow cutthroat hybrid in 2011 and a 31.25-inch rainbow trout caught in 2020. When reservoir volume falls, temperatures rise and dissolved oxygen declines, pushing trout to move in search of better water, often up or down river where survival is less certain. As reservoir water is released, many trout take a one-way trip through the dam, which is risky business for a trout, where some are lost to turbine strikes. Others bolster the fishery below the dam. To refill the reservoir, winter flows on the Snake River drop to less than 10% of typical summer, June to August flows. This fall, flows are about 2% of the 2025 peak to accommodate repair work at Minidoka Dam. Winter is already the hardest season for trout survival. Reduced discharge can further limit habitat over winter and may also impact fisheries in Walcott Reservoir. Fish and Game is taking steps to rebuild these trout populations. Later this month, our staff will stock approximately 250,000 fingerlings and 42,000 catchable-sized rainbow trout into American Falls Reservoir. Additionally, Idaho Power will provide approximately 9,000 catchables. Our fisheries biologists have tagged hundreds of hatchery rainbow trout to evaluate how survival varies by release timing and location. Angler tag reports reveal fish movements, including entrainment from American Falls into the Snake River or emigration to Walcott Reservoir. Fish and Game plans late November electrofishing on the Snake River between American Falls Dam and the pipeline access to tag additional fish and assess population status. Improvement in fishing quality will depend largely on water availability and conditions over the coming months. Anglers who catch tagged fish are encouraged to report tag numbers and capture details through our Tag Your It program. You can find that on our website. These reports directly inform stocking strategies and help Fish and Game get the most value from the fish that we're stocking. So, our folks appreciate the patience and cooperation of the angling community while managers work to restore these important fisheries. If you want some more information about fisheries management in the Southeast region, please contact Regional Fisheries Manager Patrick Kennedy at 208-236-1262 or shoot him an email at pat.kennedy, that's Kennedy, at idfg.idaho.gov. All right, last up, a 2-year investigation leads to multiple convictions for wildlife violations in Twin Falls County. A 2-year investigation led by Idaho Fish and Game conservation officers in the Magic Valley region has resulted in multiple convictions and significant restitution following the discovery of unlawfully taken wildlife in southern Idaho. In October of 2023, Idaho Fish and Game conservation officers identified a group of individuals hunting in the southern portion of Game Management Unit 54 near Rogerson, Idaho. Through surveillance efforts, officers suspected the group was unlawfully taking mule deer without valid tags. On October 29th of that same year, conservation officers conducted a traffic stop on a group of 4 individuals identified as Robert Zico, Nicholas Zico, Darren George, and Jeff George. During the stop, officers recovered 5 unlawfully taken mule deer heads. The meat from the deer had been left to waste. This discovery spurred a 2-year investigation that resulted in Idaho Fish and Game officers serving 14 simultaneous search warrants in the Treasure Valley and Oregon with the assistance of the Nampa Police Department, Meridian Police Department, Boise Police Department, Oregon State Police, Wyoming Game and Fish Department, and the United States Fish and Wildlife Service. The investigation revealed a larger network of individuals connected to the original suspects in the traffic stop. The group's actions included taking of mule deer without tags and wasting meat by only retaining the heads to be mounted as trophies. Additionally, there were numerous other hunting violations detected as part of the investigation. In total, Fish and Game officers identified 35 animals that were unlawfully taken in Idaho, including 32 mule deer, 1 bull moose, 1 swan, and 1 bobcat since 2016. To read more about this story, hit the link in the description and check out Kenzie Baratti's press release. All right, that's it for major stories this week. Let's hit the rapid fire bulletin. The Idaho Fish and Game Commission will meet November 19th and 20th at Fish and Game's Clearwater Regional Office in Lewiston. The business meeting will resume at 8 a.m. Pacific Time on November 20th at the same location, and folks can tune in online via Zoom. Some agenda items include a final decision on the adoption of administrative rules, an update on the 2025 non-resident tag draw, and CWD updates. Idaho Fish and Game is seeking the public's help in gathering information regarding 3 separate cases of wasted wildlife that occurred recently in Unit 33. The first incident occurred around October 24th in the Lightning Creek drainage north of Crouch, where a mule deer buck was shot and only the head was taken. The remainder of the animal was left to waste. The second incident took place around October 28th along Highway 17. That's the Banks-Loman Highway, just east of Scott Mountain Road, near the County Rock Quarry. In this case, a mule deer doe was shot and left to waste. A third incident happened on the morning of November 5th, also along Highway 17, approximately halfway between the Garden Valley Public Shooting Range and the Scott Mountain Road turnoff. A cow elk was shot and later found dead near a subdivision south of the river. Evidence suggests the cow elk may not have been the intended target, but was wounded while someone was attempting to shoot at a bull elk. The animal crossed the river with the rest of the herd before succumbing to its injuries. Idaho Fish and Game officers are investigating all 3 cases and are asking anyone with information to come forward. On November 4th, Fish and Game responded to reports of a black bear sow and 3 cubs that had been frequenting a Teton County neighborhood for over a month. The bears repeatedly received food rewards from unsecured garbage and other attractants, which prompted them to spend much of their time in yards and around homes. Due to their food conditioning and habituation, the decision was made to euthanize these bears in the interest of public safety. Unfortunate situations like these serve as a reminder for residents living in bear country to properly store attractants and report bear issues quickly to keep both people and the bears safe. These bears were known to have been frequenting the neighborhood for over a month before they were reported to Fish and Game, making hazing or relocation efforts impractical. That's all the news we have for this week. Thanks for putting an ear to Idaho Fish and Game's Hook and Bulletin. Remember, next week we're taking the week off, but you can go tune in to Shooting the Bull. Episode 10, out now. If there's something on your mind or if you got a question related to Fish and Game Matters, feel free to drop us a line at podcast@idfg.idaho.gov. Again, that's podcast@idfg.idaho.gov. Thanks for listening, folks. Catch you next week.